The next on the list, I'm not going to mention her name, you'll guess who I'm talking about. She's a songstress, she's a playwright, educator, dramatist, and activist. She was born in the vineyards of struggle. She has traveled extensively. She also has a play called The Daughter of Struggle. And she also, I think she's also published, I'm not sure. She said no.
To your left.
Well, Ayana is already up here. This is Ayana Gregg, her father was.
I'd like to, can I get a little more volume in my microphone? I'd like to give honor to this, an acknowledgement of this sacred space that we're in. Honoring lead pastor, Reverend Dr. Anika Wilson Brown, Pastor Emeritus Willie Wilson, otherwise known as Nana Bortway Odobia II, and his wife, Pastor Mary Wilson. Yes, make some noise. We know what they about. We see what they about. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky. It's a new day, it's a new life for you and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, ay, 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 ay. I'd like to feel the vibration in the room, so everybody repeat after me. Everybody say, ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. No more giving just a little, no more being shy, no more staying in the middle. We're about to take flight, so you better hold on. Flying through the night, put your night vision on. With the eye of the eagle, the heart of a lion, the wings of an angel, the evening flying. Light as a feather, cause I smile every day. The love in my heart, I give it away. Places that we will go, things that we will see. Heaven only knows all that we will be. See the magic that you have, if you only knew who you really are, the things that you can do. Everybody say, hey, smart people. Hey, smart people. Everybody say, hey, smart people. Hey, smart people. Everybody say, that winter made us worthy of spring and rain was just as necessary as sun. I spent a whole lifetime avoiding pain and struggle only to find transformation waiting for me on the other side. I spent a whole lifetime seeking love on the outside only to find love waiting for me on the inside. It's a critical time now, a time to remember and recall who we are and become who we was born to be. It's a critical time now, so plant your seeds and watch yourself transform back into yourself. Then you will enter a world where the phoenix flies, warriors rise, and beautiful flowers bloom. Everybody say, let's go home. Let's go home. Mother, Father, God, ancestors, spirit guide, guardian angel, all forces of love and light, we thank you for coming to us and through us right here and right now. Everybody take a deep breath in. Acknowledge this life force and life source ebbing and flowing inside you. Knowing that the same life that lives in you, the same love, the same blood that lives in you is the same blood connecting you inextricably to the first black mothers and fathers of creation, Ashe. And so as we stand here at this time, that some would call the best of times and others would call the worst of times, what I know for sure is that we are right on time. I know that we were built for this, that we were prepared for this time, that we are witnessing the falling of empires, of old regimes. We are witnessing the falling of white supremacy and it's going out kicking and screaming, but one thing for sure is going out. A new day is emerging. And so it's time to get connected to the earth. It's time to acknowledge earth, wind, fire, and water, and acknowledge the elements that exist outside of us and inside of us as us. We acknowledge this indigenous land upon which we stand. We acknowledge the Piscataway people, the Anacostas, and those ones and ones named and unnamed who lived here and understood how to respect and live in sync with Mother Nature. In this sacred continuum of life, we acknowledge that there is no such thing as death in the African tradition. There is life and there is rebirth, Ashe. And so let us honor you, great ancestors, and ask that you continue to guide us and protect us from the other side. Come to us and through us right here and right now. We honor you, great spirit. We honor you, great ancestors. We honor our ancient African ancestors, the great civilizations of Kemet, Kush, Nubia, Ethiopia, Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. We honor the Igbo people, the Yoruba, the Hausa, the Akan, the Wula, the Fulani, the Dahomey, the Dogon, the Mande, the Kapede, the Bantu people, and the list goes on. We honor you, creators of math, science, medicine, astronomy, language, art, music, and philosophy. We honor the creators of the spiritual systems, literature, architecture, agriculture. We honor the high priests, the great kings and queens, the warriors, the magic makers, the shapeshifters, the storytellers, the artists, the scholars, the builders, the freedom fighters, the liberators, the healers, those who have come before us, who have made a way for us, who are the reasons that we are here today. We thank you for continuing to protect us on the other side. We honor our ancestors who were ripped from their African homeland in Western, Central, and Southern Africa. Not slaves, but brilliant Africans, enslaved, ripped from their African homeland, forced to endure the unspeakable African Holocaust. To the millions of Africans who lost their lives along the way, we honor you, Ashe. For the ancestors whose bones still lie at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, we honor you, Ashe. For the millions of our ancestors who survived the Middle Passage, we honor you, Ashe. For those ancestors who endured a lifetime of slavery in the Americas and abroad, we honor you, Ashe. For those who endured throughout this 400 plus years of terror and injustice, we honor you, Ashe. We honor those who, despite the assault on their humanity, continue to smile, continue to love and laugh and create and seek freedom and humanity for their people. We say Ashe. Because of you, we are. And let us call out just what some of the names. Call out the name of Imhotep, Ashe. Queen Tai. Amenhotep III. Akhenaten. Ramses II. Queen Nzinga. Menelik II. Empress Taitu Betul. Shaka Zulu. your love for our people. We say thank you, great ancestors. Because of you we are. And to all of those light spirits, known and unknown, who continue to protect us and raise our vibration, may your power live through us. And may we know with certainty that with your anointed presence and the power of the Most High God, that our victory is certain. I'm going to say that one more time. May we know with certainty that with your anointed presence, ancestors, and with the presence and power of the Most High God, that our victory is certain. It is already done, and with hands outstretched to the heaven, we say, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. All right, I'd like y'all to repeat after me. Are y'all ready? Everybody say it's time already. It's time already. My mind is ready. My mind is ready. Transformation now. Liberation now. I'm living my best life now. And I know that I got the power. Everybody say, I'm royalty. We royalty. We royalty. We royalty. I'ma keep rising higher. I feel strong and free. They can't stop this fire. Because we royalty. Hey! This is a revelation. This day is confirmation. That we gon' be alright. Hey! We gon' be alright. Hey! Everybody say, we the leaders. We the dreamers. We the builders and conceivers. We the healers. We the feelers. Change maker. Chance taker. Co-creator. Manifester. I know I can be strong and free. I'm a reflection of the God in me. The time is now for unity. Ancestors proud of you and me. Sankofa's back. Let spirit use ya. Sankofa's back. Let spirit use ya. Can we cut the track and let me just hear the drum? We the leaders. We the healers. We the builders and conceivers. Change maker. Chance taker. Innovator. Manifester. I know I can be strong and free. I'm a reflection of the God in me. something just real quick? I just want to make a correction. When I said Pastor Emeritus Baba Willie Wilson, when I said his name, his Ghanaian name, when he was installed, I gave the wrong name. It's Nana Kwadwo Boafo the first. Nana Kwadwo Boafo the first. Make some noise for our Baba.
Yes, and you know, ADACI has many different people, and we have everybody has a talent. We have Yoruba priests, we have Akan priests, we have Baha'i, we have metaphysical, which I am a metaphysical healer. So we have a lot of different people. So we are now having a libation poured by a Akan priestess.
Jumbo, everyone. I'm a comfortable of Chedawa.
I didn't mention your name.
A comfortable of
Tell me your name since you come. Tell me your dad name.
Oh, my I got five. I am Mona Cherie Pollock, 3 or 5 generations from Washington, D.C. I am a metaphysician by trade, registered reverend or minister in the District of Columbia in metaphysics. I am an herbalist. I do African herbs for healing. I am an oilologist. I do oils for healing and upliftment. I am a cultural sister of my father and my mother from Washington, D.C. I am an African dancer. I am a body fitness and conditioner participant. And I hand dance too. I am from history and I love creating well. But today we have called in the ancestors various ways, and I say ashe, ashe, ashe to those that gave of themselves and spirit. And I will add to that a short libation to our ancestors. And at a point where we call them nationally and globally, I will actually call them your own. That have poured into you richly, that have disciplined you, that has sharpened your skill set. And I will be speaking in a little bit of a tree. And then we're just going to invoke the spirit to raise the roof on this day. Ashe? Ado. Amen.
Yeah.
Now Ray, now Ray, medicine night, I'm on the go. And y'all can talk about fucking stop. And the baby stop. Now the Asian stop. Now the Ethiopian stop. Now the Syrian stop. Now the Coco Roma. Now the Suo. Now the Coco, now the Coco, the Baby. Baby, I know. Suo, the Switch, the James. Exactly. That goes with the stuff. What's the lie? What's the lie?
I say.
You know, baby, I know. I was in the list of no more votes. Yeah. Things I know. Yeah. So I think to myself, I don't know. Things I know. That's why I'm saying so many children with the mama will stop. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, female children with the mama will stop. Yeah. That's the way female the mama will stop. Yeah. That is the American stop. Yeah. That's how American will stop. Yeah. Oh, because you're saying that in my baby inside of my
Yeah. Muna Tata, Muna Tata, Muna Tata. Yeah.
Way more young babies I know.
Yeah.
Way more older babies I know.
Yeah.
Oh my, back there, yeah. Babies I know. Say now, yeah. The ones that are poor and the black and the person. Okay? Yeah. That is prayer, that is salvation, that is commitment. on this ADACI 33 years of commemorating the ancestors here, far, Ma'afa, around the globe, and we are still fighting. We have the audacity to stand on truth. We will not be moved from our square.
Yeah, Muna Casa. Muna Casa.
And it's up, she's going to give an explanation of ICAM and ADACI international sites.
Thank you, Margaret. Can you all feel the energy? You gotta be able to feel this energy, right? It is. Thank you all so much for the messages. Thank you, Ayala, for taking us through the roof. And Bob Fakuna, we paid very close attention. Mona Cherie, we paid attention to the messages. We truly appreciate it. Give it up for our hostess, our mistress, our sister of ceremony. She's our elder in ADACI, so we do what she tells us to. That's basically it. So anyway, I want to welcome each and every one of you. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for helping us to remember, for coming here to remember the ancestors and honoring them and reconnecting with our ancestral knowledge. Very briefly, ADACI is a nonprofit education, cultural, and spiritual organization based in DC. We have branches in Senegal, Nigeria, Cameroon, and Brazil. And ADACI is dedicated to institutionalizing the remembrance of our African ancestors who perished in the Middle Passage. The millions and millions of men, women, children, and babies who were victimized, terrorized, and traumatized, yet many resisted. We remember them, we give them their flowers, we send them their prayers. We never forget them. We don't act like we have amnesia because we know we are connected to our ancestors because their blood are still in our veins, in our DNA, passed on from generation to generation. ADACI's work is done through our programs and activities that feature world-renowned scholars, artists, activists, faith-based leaders, youth advocates. Many of them are here today, and many of them have presented all wrong. And the whole purpose is to recapture our history, heal from the trauma, and restore our memory. ADACI is also the founding member of ICAM, the International Coalition to Commemorate the African Ancestors of the Middle Passage. And these are organizations similar to ADACI who for decades have also been commemorating the ancestors of the Ma'afa. And so today, there are Ma'afa commemoration activities taking place in New York, in Charleston, in Detroit, in Miami, as well as at the ADACI sites in Senegal, Nigeria, Cameroon, and Brazil. and prayers and libations are being said in Cape Coast dungeons in Ghana, as well as in Trinidad. So we honoring them. We are coming together to recognize the powerful work of the ancestors. And so we ask you to continue to look out for ADACI, support ADACI in whichever way that you can. I want to take this opportunity to just recognize a couple of individuals. All of you are important to us, but we also want you to know who some of these individuals are. We want to make sure that we recognize Baba C.R. Gibbs, who's our ADACI historical advisor, and his history. It is based on the ADACI bronze plaque, which is located at the Enlightenment Building at the corner of MLK and Malcolm X Avenue. And it is dedicated to commemorating those ancestors who traversed Freedom's Crossing, as he calls it, from slavery in Maryland to freedom in DC on emancipation in 1862. And so we honor him, and of course his wife, Ms. Betty Gibbs. They're always supporters of ADACI. And also I want to recognize our dear brother, Lafayette Bonds and Antoine Ford. They're the ones who saw the history, the importance of enshrining that history in bronze. And here's a copy of the plaque. Please visit it when you come back from the river. And his wife is here. We all know her, Denise Bonds. So thank you, Denise. Thank you all for coming and getting knowledge all about spiritual leaders who are here with us today. Melvin is also with us. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to turn it over, Margaret. Pass it. I'm going to pass it back to you, Margaret.
This is what happens to you when you get old. But everybody that she mentioned, stand up so people can know who she's talking about. Okay, the next person we have coming on, I'm not even going to mention her name. Everybody knows who she is. She's the queen of the spoken word. She brings fire in every utterance and takes no prisoners. I didn't say who it was. She is also a award-winning and celebrated poet, writer, and educator. She was also a school teacher. Here she comes up. Lady, don't sit down.
I am trying to act like I live in this era. Okay. And this first poem is called Grand Larceny. Don't look down, y'all, but we've been robbed. Someone whose brain has been soaking in hatred rolled up into our community and robbed us of someone whose possibilities were endless. When you kill a young black man, you kill everything he was meant to be. Not only do you steal his breath, but you strangle all the babies he could have created, all the dreams he was dreaming, all the heights he wanted to reach. You destroy with one touch of your finger. When you uncreate a brother man, you leave a hole in his family the size of the Grand Canyon, a hole that can never be filled, never be closed, and never be healed. When you blast the life out of a black man, dozens of women are robbed of a possible boyfriend, lover, or husband. Some woman, somewhere, her arms are stripped from this man that were holding her. The eyes that were appreciating her, the heart that was loving her. When you pump a nigger on what you think is just a nigger, you destroy the homeboy he was to other black men, the ride or die loyalty that he shared with his closest friends. Every significant thing that he was to other people is deleted. And those who trusted him the most are left to wander around empty-handed, stuck in their feelings and wondering why they can't breathe. His whole family is robbed of the wages he was bringing home to keep the family out of poverty. Without caring one way or another, you might be robbing some mother or some father of their one and only child, sentencing them to a lifetime of grief and heartbreaking sadness. When you execute a black man, you also kill his chance to be a Nat Turner, a Black Panther, or Malcolm X. You squash his opportunity to show boys in the community how to be real men. You rob the whole community of his intelligence, compassion, and possible activism. The heavenly gifts he was given at birth are flushed down the toilet, and the opportunity to be what God created him to be is kicked to the curb like an empty beer can. When you take a black man's life, you rob the whole world of anything he might have invented, or any miracle he may have performed, or any chance he may have had to make a great race better. Everything he may have felt, anything he may have thought, is left on life's highway like roadkill. When you snatch the life out of a black man's body, not only do you rob him of all his possibilities, you rob every person who ever knew him and everybody he was ever supposed to meet. I don't know what this sounds like because it came last night. Ain't no man like a real black man, because a real black man is a god. His mama was not a virgin, and his daddy didn't live in the sky. But as sure as black and white is not, someone divine has landed on this planet. A living collage infused with the spirits of Sankara, Darwin, Nyerere, Queen Mother Moore, Lumumba, Cabral. Someone, an entire continent, has been waiting for is officially here, handing out permission slips for all African nations to rid themselves of parasites, vipers, and bloodsuckers of all sizes and shapes. Someone imagined, prayed for, conjured up, desperately needed, and seriously hoped for has entered the ring on our side, swinging with a might of biblical proportions. Ain't no man like a real black man, because a real black man is a god. Look up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's a black man, running on no other fuel than African nationalism, ancestral approval, and coochie chagalia. An ordinary man has evolved with fire in one hand and justice in the other, and like a dog shaking off fleas, is making African countries rise and purge themselves from the ugliness, thieviness, lyingness, rapiness, mutations that have ever been on this earthly scene. This ordinary brown-skinned man is reaching into our African narrative and reversing the tide the way our ancestors once reversed the Nile. Without a cape or sleight of hand, he is using his lineage like a superpower and focusing it on pulling Burkina Faso back to its feet to raise the challenges that all Africans are going to have to meet. Ain't no man like a black man, because a real black man is a god. Back to black, he is saying goodbye to used European clothes and a sweet hello to homegrown fashions, from homegrown fabrics, from homegrown hands. Giving more lip service to education, he has declared knowledge free from primary to university. No one gets turned away because they cannot pay. Expected mothers, the wealth of any society, are now giving free care. No one gets turned away because they cannot pay. White wigs no longer deck the heads of court officials because nothing is finer than Burkinabe people dressed in Burkinabe clothes. And the elderly are feeling some of the ease that comes with water and electricity being free. The justice system is being revamped to give every person their due with a minimum amount of suffering. There ain't no man like a real black man, because a real black man is a god. And even if he can't do all the things he says, even if he can't hold up all his intentions, the crouching tiger in him is such a menace to European society that their denouncement of him alone has garnered him the respect and admiration of millions of Africans ready to be led out of the wilderness. And whether he knows it or not, he's rocketing for the downtrodden, the lost in the sauce, the Africa for Africans, the neo-still colonized, and those who righteously cling to Africa as an umbilical cord. The way this existence is generated is not AI for artificial intelligence, but AI for ancestral intelligence. And no matter what he says, what doesn't say, no matter what he does, what doesn't do, he is performing the ultimate gesture of giving us back to ourselves. And that's why we join him in this wave and the sovereignty he seeks, because ain't no man like a real black man. Because a real black man is a God.
Our next person that we want to, which you already know who this person is because she's been here a lot of times and she's well known. As a matter of fact, everybody that's been here is well known. Is what we call her Ivory Hilton, and her name is Shadia. Yeah. Shadia! Well, she's internationally known and she's recognized as a classical sacred performer, a sound healer, mindful. She's also a doctor. She has her PhD, you all. That needs to be mentioned because a lot of folks who have their PhDs who are black are not recognized. Okay, she's a recording artist. She's also, she also uses the concept, I think it's her concept, of sound vibronics, the new medicine for the 21st century, which she probably will share with you now.
A real black man is gone. Thank you, my love. I am going to share something very different than I usually do. And I'm going to ask the drummers to help me.
This is the choir right there.
The choir is in the house. Oh, don't you all look so beautiful? Can we all just give ourselves a hand? Because we are here. This is a time when we talk about vibration and frequency energy. Right now we know what's happening in our city. And we are the vibrational frequency of resistance. When I spoke with Sister Mother, Queen Mother, Tinda, I said, what do you want me to do? She said, just do what the Spirit said. And so, the Spirit of Brother R came to me. And it made me remember a story that I want to share. And I'm just going to tell it right now because I'm at home, I'm with family. For those that know Barbara Salim and I, we have relocated and now we understand what that really means. It feels like a separation. Because where we are, there's nothing like this. However, we are there for a reason, for a purpose, and we are sure that it is evolving and unfolding as we speak. But when you said that to me, Mother, Queen Mother Tendai, Brother R came to me. And I thought about when I was 19 years old, my aunt bought me a tape. And that tape was called Open Sky. Anybody know about Open Sky? It saved my life through childbirth, through terrible first marriage. I mean, I listened to that. That was my soul music. And I kept saying, oh, who is Brother I? Because I lived in Ohio. I said, I want to meet this brother. I want to meet him. And then one day I was somewhere, I can't remember that, and it was Brother I. Wow. And we connected. And then I started singing with him in his group, and we started making music together and understanding the power of vibration. And if it hadn't been for him, I don't think my son would be here now. But in that moment, we decided we were going to write an African opera. And of course, years go by, we keep seeing each other. Yeah, we're gonna do it. You know how that is, right? But then one day he said to me, we don't have much time. So have you come up with the concept? I said, no, not yet. So then one day, a truck hit, a rock rolled off into my car and shattered the windshield. And so I had to go and get it fixed. And while I was standing there, unbeknownst to me, the Spirit of God poured down into my soul. And it ended up with, Ayana Nzinga, angel of light, angel of love, Ayana Nzinga. And that's when I said, the story is about Ayana Nzinga. Drummers, very light, very gentle, very soft. I want to share with you the beginnings of the first aria. A new sonic vocal anointing that comes from my soul. And the village priest began to sing, and the family and community walked behind him, singing songs of the beginning of a new life while dancing to the drums with a rhythmic beat. The drum call, telling the story of the coming of a new life. The mother is being carried by the men of the village high above their heads in a beautiful golden body wrap, pregnant with the beginning of a new life. It was time to name the baby girl. The priest of the village knew that it was a girl, and there was no doubt in anyone's mind that the new life was indeed a girl. The processional starts with a powerful Tigray song led by the Okonkwas, the children, and the ritual of the new coming spirit. The libations were poured, giving thanks to the ancestors and for the coming of the new spirit. The drums were being built, beating the rhythms of 1,000 heartbeats, and the dancers surrounded the new mother to be with the dance of blessings for the newborn child. And the priest called out, Ayana Nzinga, Ayana Nzinga, Ayana Nzinga. The priest of the village explained the importance of the ritual of ushering in a new spirit. It is a time to thanks for the ancestors for blessing the village. The ancestors have the power of creating new beginnings. The ancestors have the power of creating a new life. They began with the purification ritual of life. Truth, trust, and honesty are elements of African life. The mother was given red pepper to represent the hot and fiery moments of motherhood, lemon to symbolize the bitter taste of life with full responsibility, and honey to remind the new mother to be that life. The children of the village passed the ceremonial elements around for the village community to taste. symbolizing that the village is one. And what one experiences, everyone in their village experiences with them. This allows no one in the community an opportunity to absorb trauma, sadness, separation of mind and spirit alone. And then, suddenly, there were loud rings of frightening sounds that no one in the village had ever heard before. There were guns, white men gathering with haste, and surrounding the village people trapped by the power of the shuddering, loud, sounding rings of power. The men of the village fought fiercely with all of their might, and the children ran while the elders wept with sadness. And then there was silence, only to know that the next moment found in time in the darkness, with the village people chained and shackled together by their feet and wrists, overwhelmed by the damp stillness of the air, wretched with anticipation of thoughts and feelings never experienced before. You could hear the children crying and the mothers calling out, "I'm with you! Don't be afraid!" The oversung are with you too, watching over you. Remember the most significant element of life, the power of healing, the Ayarisa. Be ready for new life experiences with faith and endurance. And never forget, Sankofa. Sankofa. You can play the track now. The Ascension of Ayana in Zen. Bring it up for me, please. Bring it way up. And now you can just imagine that a singer did not make it. She was dropped into the ocean and became an ancestor. And now we live with her spirit of Sankofa. What happened? It's not. now I rise with power and peace. The circle is closing and I am released. Time is a spiral. I reclaim my power. Call it back. No matter where you are from, if you don't know your origin, feel it in your heart. Whatever your heart tells you, that is where you are from. Call it back. Call it back. Go back and remember. Return and rise. Remember your name, Sankofa. Claim your power now. I asked for 3 more minutes, and the drummers to drum gently. And if you feel safe, gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Breath in, deep breath out. Again, inhale deeply through your nose, drawing in calm, and exhale through your mouth, releasing tension. With each breath, imagine you are opening a door within, opening up to finding your calm, releasing the past, and living your purpose. Now bring your awareness to your heart. The primordial sound of the universe resonating around and within you. And this sacred vibration resonates in the heart and center, dissolving all anxiety and awakening compassion. As the vibration of Om reverberates, feel its warm wave washing over you, melting away any lingering sorrow. Let it go. Letting go. Letting go. Letting go. Allow your breath to sync with this ancient frequency. The very frequency of the Earth's orbit, the cosmic Om that fosters peace and grounding in your being. In the spirit of Sankofa, the African wisdom, that is not taboo to return for what we have left behind, we now turn our inner gaze toward the inner past with reverence. The very word Sankofa means go back and fetch it. Reclaim the pearls of wisdom from yesterday. Take another deep breath. Exhale. Now grounded by the earth and uplifted by ancestral love, you stand balanced between past and present. Notice the gentle expansion in your chest, the lightness in your shoulders, the quiet power in your belly. With gratitude in your heart, feet firmly on sacred ground, we prepare to walk backwards through the doorway of time, and together we carry forward the light of Sankofa, trusting that what we retrieve will illuminate our way ahead. Slightly allow a smile to appear on your face, with joy at receiving that the ancestors have heard us. We journey onward, renewed, rooted, and reverent. Sankofa. Gently and slowly, blink your eyes until they are open completely. Ashe.
I just want to say, first of all, Hotep, everybody. Going on 33 years, but every time I hear that voice, the spirit brings tears out of my eyes. I feel like this is my family, my village, that I can have this testimony because it touched me so much. Thank you for listening.
Interesting about that is I was either at Dooku's or Sankofa, and they handed me his book, and this was centuries ago, and they said, you need to read this. They didn't ask me if I could afford to buy it, but they said, you need to read it, and I didn't even know who it was by. And it's so interesting that he has evolved over the years. Thank you. Tony T. Browder is the founder and director of IKG Cultural Resources and has devoted 47 years researching ancient Egypt history, science, psychology, and culture. He's traveled to Egypt many times. They have a time down there. I'm quite sure he's been there many times since then. And he's traveled to Egypt, and he is director of the ASA Restoration Project, which funded the excavation and restoration of 25 Dynasty Kushite tombs in West Bank of Luxor, Egypt. He was recently appointed to the Governor's Commission on Middle East American Affairs by the Maryland Governor Wes Moore. This project is the only archaeological excavation in Europe funded by African Americans. How you like that? Its findings have worldwide implications, and it expands the knowledge of the 25th dynasty and their relationship with ancient Egypt and Kush. He's also published, well, you know that I just said it in the book, but he's published other books since then. And he's well respected some people that I wouldn't expect to know who he was knew him. I said, well, excuse me. Oh, yes. He's authored many books and which are currently used in the classrooms around the world, and that's great. His 4 decades of studying and teaching African history has led him to the conclusion that the ancient Africans were the architects of civilization and developed the rudiments of what is become scientific, religious, and physiological backbone of mankind. Well, we knew that all along. It is from this framework that IKG has concentrated its research and disseminated its findings. I think he also didn't mention this, but you have a new book coming out that documents 15 years of excavation and restoration and discoveries. Is it out yet? Good. Who has the book?
Both have it.
Tom?
I'll tell you.
Okay, no, I want to know, they can get it from Blue Nile or either Sankofa. Yeah, I just want you to know where that, they know it's on near Howard University, Florida Avenue. Don't want to forget our neighborhood, you know what I mean? Okay, so Tony, you have the stage there.
Thank you, Sister Barbara, for that introduction, and happy birthday.
Yes, sir.
Her birthday was on the 11th,
Yes.
and she already told me she doesn't mind me telling you all how old she is.
How young she is.
She's 85.
All right.
She should be honored for having lived that long and still have her mind intact.
That's right.
So thank you. Happy birthday, my sister. So I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to see you all.
We love you, Tony.
I love y'all more. I was born in Chicago 74 years ago, next month. But reality is, as I reflect on my life, I was reborn here in D.C. D.C. is my life. You know, D.C. is my heart. And as I was sitting in the audience listening to all these incredible sisters come up, sing and talk and perform, Brother Ken said, after my English spoke, well, how you gonna follow that? Well, easy. I'm from the west side of Chicago. And I was born in a household of strong black women. So I ain't scared. Strong black women, they infused me with life. So I have been energized, sitting in my seat, listening to these powerful sisters. And I'm so appreciative that they saw fit to invite me to give the keynote for their 33rd anniversary. And this is special. It's special because I want to quote from the book of Amos Wilson, or as Brother Kaba says, Saint Amos Wilson. Amos gave a speech. It was one of his last speeches in New York, and it's a speech he gave shortly before he passed. And there was a statement in that speech that has stayed with me, that has stayed on my heart, in my heart. And it bubbles up from time to time. And that statement is that an act does not end at the end of its occurrence, but continues to move down through the ages, influencing generation after generation after generation. 1992 was a pivotal year in Washington, D.C., because acts were set in motion in 1992 that influenced thousands throughout the DMV and hundreds of thousands throughout the country and all around the world. Brother Nati from Baltimore. Hey, brother. Good to see you. Good to see you. And so, what happened in 1992? 1992, a group of sisters, strong black sisters, came together and created ADACI. Created an organization, created an institution, which created ripples throughout time and space, and have touched the hearts and souls of hundreds of thousands of people all around the world. And they wisely, in setting up this institution, they wisely chose Dr. John Henry Clark as an elder advisor. In 1992, I wrote that book that I think you were talking about, Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization. And I wisely asked John Henry Clark to write the introduction to that book. So when I think about it, I think about the fact that 33 years later, ADACI is still going strong and getting stronger. And Nile Valley Contributions is still a perennial bestseller. Why? I want to think that these two institutions and organizations and publications were set in motion because of the spirit that was infused in them by the spirit of John Henry Clark. And so if we understand Dr. Clark's spirit, it's important to understand the spirit that was placed in his heart and his mind when he was 17 years old. Dr. Clark was 17 years old when he read Arthur Schomburg's essay, The Negro Digs Up His Past, which Schomburg talked about who we were before our world was turned upside down, and what it is we must do in order to uncover the truth that will empower us to do everything that we are supposed to do. So we must dig up our past. We must become the most passionate, the most enthusiastic antiquarian of them all. Why? Because we have the longest history of anybody on this planet. Our history has been minimized, it's been forgotten, it's been erased. But when we dig it up, those memories, the restoration of those memories, those ancestral memories, will provide us with the fuel to do what it is that we were born here on earth to do. So Clark was influenced, so influenced by these words of Arthur Schomburg that he jumped on a freight train, left the South, went to Chicago for a minute, made his way into Harlem, and then went to meet Schomburg. And in his youthful arrogance, told Schomburg, I want you to teach me everything you know, right here, right now, at this moment. And Schomburg wisely looked at this young boy, 18-year-old boy, and said, son, read and study your enemy. Read and study who you were before you made contact with your enemy. Read and study how your enemy has moved around the world, disturbing the essence of humanity. And once you understand all of that, then you come back and talk to me. And we can have a conversation about what we should do with that knowledge. Dr. Clark listened, and he was transformed. And as a result of his transformation, he transformed the lives of millions of people around the planet. And that does not end at the end of its occurrence, but continues to move down through the ages, influencing generation after generation after generation. Arthur Schomburg, in that publication, The New Negro, collaborated with other artists, other scholars, painters, dancers, musicians. And that publication, written by Alain Locke, that publication was the inspiration for the Harlem Renaissance. 100 years ago, the Harlem Renaissance, Harlem, the black capital of the world, the spirit of African people was reborn in that community, and that spirit transformed the consciousness of tens of millions of people all around the world for over 100 years. So I want us to really understand what it means when we talk about spirit. I want us to really understand what it means when we talk about ancestors. I was listening to PFW this morning before I came over here, and of course, they were commemorating Father's Day and asking people to call in and tell their stories about their fathers. And I heard several people call in and reference their father, may he rest in peace, blah, 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 blah. And when I thought about it, I said, no, that's not right. The fathers who are ancestors, those who are ancestors, they should not rest in peace. They should be busy inspiring us. They should be busy working through us. Why? Because we are their representatives on earth. We continue their legacy. So they should be fully employed. They should not be resting. We should not be resting. Why? Because the world needs that spirit. The world needs that power. The world needs that consciousness right now more than ever. I've lived a long time. I've seen a lot of things. I was a kid when Emmett Till was murdered. I was a teenager when Malcolm X and Martin Luther King were murdered. I've seen a lot of things in my lifetime, but I've never seen the madness that we're on the verge of experiencing right now. So we're going to need some ancestral assistance. We're going to need to download some ancestral memories. We're going to need some ancestral power right now to help us make it through what is coming. And when I talk about what is coming, I'm not saying this to make you all afraid or angry. I'm talking about the reality of karma. I'm talking about reciprocity. You can't do evil in the world without evil coming back to visit you. And evil has been done. It's still being done right now. And there's a price that's going to have to be paid for all of that evil. And so what I want us to understand, what I want us to root ourselves in, is to realize that we ain't got to be afraid. What's happening to them is going to happen to them because they deserve it. We don't have to get caught up in that nonsense because we have it within us. The power, the protection, the possibility to transcend all of this and build a new world. That is who we are. That is who we always have been. So it's important for us to center ourselves in who we really are and not focus our attention on the pain that our oppressor has subjected us to. It's important to remember the Ma'afa. Yes, it's important to remember the Ma'afa, but remember this. If the story of African people were a book of 1,000 pages, the Ma'afa begins on page 996, and it's only 2 pages long. So let us focus our attention on the first 995 pages. Let us focus our attention on 8,000 years of African success and excellence. That's memory, ancestral memory, that has empowered us to survive the worst atrocities that human beings on this planet have ever faced. We are still here because our ancestors were still there working through us. And that's something you don't give up. That's something you don't minimize if you truly understand what it is and how it works and how it shows up in your life time after time after time after time again. It's important to know that. It's important to understand that. It's important to cultivate that because that's going to be what will get us through the difficult times that are coming. See, because we're not living just for ourselves. I mean, if you really understand this thing, we're not just living for ourselves, we are living for our future selves. It ain't just about this life, it's about all the lives that you have lived that have prepared you for all the lives you're going to live. And then tapping into that endless stream of consciousness and realizing what Donny Hathaway told us years ago, that everything is everything. Everything is happening right now. So what do you want to happen? What do you want to happen? What you want to happen already happened a long time ago. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. All you have to do is to tap into those ancestral memories that you're carrying inside of us, download those memories into your consciousness, and then just tweak it a little bit if necessary to do it better than it ever has been done before. That then establishes the blueprint for all of those who will come after you, how to do it, right? How to improve on what has been done. That's who we are. That's what we have done longer and better than anyone else on this planet. That's what we must remember. That's what we must know. That's what we must act on, because that's our superpower. Understand that. That is our superpower. And when we dwell in that which is inherently ours, we draw down to us all the power that we need to do anything that's required. All right? So think about this. I want to put things into context. And I want us to understand what's happening right before our very eyes. Because oftentimes we get distracted by things that are going on. And you all well know that there are a lot of distractions going on all around us.
Don't watch the news.
You have to learn how to separate yourself from those distractions, because they're designed to dispirit you, to connect you from your essence of who you are and make you afraid. What the Bible did Gregory tell us, fearing God can't occupy the same space. Fear is the absence of God. So know and understand where your strength comes. Harvest that strength by cultivating those memories, and then use those memories to become the vessel through which your ancestors will speak and do their best work. So y'all know I like the media, I like films, I like good films. Right? Because the media is the most powerful form of mental manipulation ever created. Can influence hundreds of millions of people all around the world at the same time in just a few minutes. Because what you see, what you hear, settles within your consciousness, changes your DNA, and reverberates throughout every cell in your body. It's a powerful form of mental, spiritual, physical, emotional, psychological manipulation. It's not to be played with. And when we see someone doing it, using these tools and doing them well, we must acknowledge them and understand who they are, and more importantly, understand whose ancestors are working through them. And one of the best examples that I can give us of someone who is embodying, allowing themselves to be used as a tool for ancestors, is this young 34-year-old brother by the name of Ryan Coogler. All right? If you all haven't seen Sinners, shame on you.
That's right.
All right? That film is one of the most transformative films I've ever seen in my life. And that juke joint scene will go down in history as one of the most powerful scenes in any motion picture in film history. So I don't want us to sleep on, that scene. So I want to spend a minute talking about the messages embedded in that scene, so that we can tap into that energy and that consciousness that has been put out there in the universe, and ultimately amplify that power so that we can do the things that the ancestors worked through this young man to be accomplished. Right? Does that make sense? Yes. So I want you all to use your imagination. Use your imagination and visualize that scene. But Sammy's in the juke joint. He's been invited by Delta Slim to sing that song. And before he sings the song, Delta Slim says, tell him who you are and where you're from, who your people are, right? And he tells the story, and then he says, I wrote this song for my father, and the song is, I lied to you. He had to lie to his father because his father had been socialized to believe that this guitar was an instrument of evil, when in fact it was an instrument of transformation. It was an instrument of transformation. So he sang the song, but it's the hook. It's the hook in that song, it's the chorus in that song that is the essence of that whole scene. Where people got sidetracked when they heard it was a film about vampires. They took it literally. And they thought it was a horror film. It ain't a horror film. It's a film about life and the horrors of life. About the vampires who walk in the daylight, who suck our blood, suck our money, suck our energy, drain us of everything that makes us who we are. And that, as we saw in the film, those evil spirits cannot just come into your presence. They cannot just come into your presence. They have to be invited in. They have to be invited in. So Sammy, when he's singing, Sammy was an instrument for ancestral downloads, for ancestral transformation. He sings the hook of that song and he says, somebody take me in your arms tonight. He's calling on the ancestors to come down and take him in their arms tonight. And that energy, that vibration goes into the heavens and pulls those ancestors down, and then he saw magic, cinematic magic. As an elder griot came out of the crowd playing his instrument, right? And that elder griot was an ancestor of Sammy. So the ability to sing transformative songs and tell stories about your ancestors was inherited in Sammy's DNA. That's who he was. That ancestor was him a long time ago. So he called that ancestor into the present moment and came there into the present moment to infuse itself into the spirit of this young man. And then we saw a guitarist from the future, somebody from Parliament Funkadelic, came up next to him and started playing that guitar. That was Sammy in the future. So we saw the past, the present, and the future all existing simultaneously. That is the essence of what this spiritual message is all about. There is no death. We are part of a continuum. And once that spirit came down, once his ancestral spirit came down and expressed itself in that space, then that spirit moved all around the juke joint, infusing spirit into every single person there. You saw the breakdancer come in. You saw the MC come in. The camera panned around, you saw a brother playing the djembe drum, calling down more ancestors. You saw 3 blues musicians playing the guitar. The spirit went into the kitchen where the sisters were. Sisters dancing around the table, sisters twerking, got into the spirit got into the Chinese woman, Grace. And Grace started jamming, walked down the hallway to get her man so she could dance with her man. Walked past 2 brothers who were crip walking. Went and grabbed her husband, and behind her husband was his ancestor, the Monkey King, hovering over him. Grabbed her husband, put out her hand, grabbed her husband, he threw down the cards, went to dance with his wife, and as they walked out of that room, he saw her ancestor, the water sleeve dancer, go out before them. So Sammy's spirit called into that space, a spirit that opened the portal to the ancestor realm so that everybody in that space could draw down their ancestors, so that they can be healed, so that they can be connected to a timeless past and be free. Understand how the ancestors have used this brilliant young man to create opportunities to introduce African people to an aspect of our spiritual technology. Spiritual tech is what it is, older than time itself. And he's done that through every single one of his films. So this ain't a fluke. This is something that he was born to do. So what we are witnessing in this young man, a young man who's only made 5 films, and he's the most successful black writer and director and producer in film history. He's made over $2.5 billion. Ain't nobody else ever done that before, so don't sleep on this, right? Be aware of what is happening in real time so that you can make a conscious choice to align yourself to what is happening right now in times where it is sorely needed. So we can't sleep on this. And Sister Ivy, thank you so much for bringing in the memory of Brother I, because that brother has transformed the lives of so many people. And just 2 months ago, we opened the Clark Enhanced History Project on the second floor of the Thurgood Marshall Center, where we created an exhibit to amplify some of the shortcomings in the National Museum of African American History and Culture. And I can say that because I know that it's an incredible edifice. There was the byproduct of African people 102 years ago wanting to create a space where they can honor their ancestors. So it took their selfless dedication to help manifest that building. And now that it's there, that building is more than a building, right? If you understand the architecture, if you understand the symbolism that's embedded in that building, it's more than just the exhibits. My initial shortcoming with the museum was the fact that it begins our story 5 stories underground. It begins our story in an environment which replicates the Ma'afa. And as I first went into that museum a month after it opened, stood in that space and just watched how people were being impacted by that physical space. I saw elderly women crying, full of tears. I saw elderly black men angry. And I realized these souls have never been taught about the Ma'afa. So they are having a visceral experience to being exposed to the horrors of the Ma'afa for the first time. That is causing irreparable psychological and spiritual harm. That's not the intent, but that is what's happening. And something needed to be done to kind of undo that, or at least prepare people for that space. So the John Henry Clark Enhanced History Project was conceived in order to create a space where we can tell our people and show our people who we were thousands of years before our world was turned upside down. So that you're centered, so that you're grounded, and when you go into that space, you now have context for what we've gone through and how we've survived, but you also have an understanding that within inside of us is something that will allow us to thrive in the future that we create. We don't have to beg anybody for anything. All we have to do is to know who we are, mine those precious memories, and then bring into our consciousness and into the future that which we will into creation. Because that's what we've always done. We've always done it longer and better than anybody else on the planet. And the historical record is there to document that. That's what they want to erase. That's what they want to ban. That's what they want to make illegal. Anything that will empower us frightens them. So all I say is let's frighten the hell out of them. Let's empower them. So I had the pleasure, I had the honor of working with my sister Free, one of the baddest artists and designers out there. And we created some images that are designed to unlock ancestral memories. And the cornerstone of the Clark exhibit is a 25-foot-long mural that documents 8,000 years of African success and excellence. It takes us through the Ma'afa, and it ends at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. And what you see in that mural are ancestors rising up out of that building, right? And to the extreme right, we see Brother Ah playing the trumpet like Gabriel, calling the ancestors up, telling them we got work for you to do, and these are the bodies that you're going to work through. So like, I mean, it's a nice image, it's a nice concept, but it's rooted in something real. It's rooted in something that's architecturally and spiritually grounded. Think about that building. That building, the National Museum of African American History and Culture, and I ain't using none of my notes, man. I don't even know why I wrote it. That building, the National Museum of African American History and Culture, was designed by an African Ghanaian architect. And he says in the literature that the inspiration for the design of the exterior of the building, that bronze-colored lattice work, which is referred to as the corona, that image was inspired by a Yoruba shrine post in which there's a carving, and brother, you know what I'm talking about, right? There's a carving of a priest riding on a horse, and atop the priest are 3 inverted triangles. And the top triangle has a hole cut in the center, which I know from my time in the Nile Valley, that is a spirit door. That is a portal into the ancestor realm. And an inverted triangle is a symbol that represents the descent of spirit into matter, right? And so you see 3 of these triangles representing the descent of spiritual energy, mental energy, and physical energy into the consciousness of this priest. And it's his job now to use this information and then to share it among the populations in the various villages where he will come and deliver his message. So that was the inspiration for the exterior of this building, which means then, if the inspiration was a caryatid from a Yoruba shrine house, a place where ancestors dwell, it means that this building, the National Museum of African American History and Culture, is not just a museum, it is a shrine house. And inside of this building are objects that were possessed, that were owned, that were used by various people of African ancestry through their struggle here in this country. So you have the shawl of Harriet Tubman. You have the Bible of Nat Turner. You have a slave auction block. You have a slave house. You have manacles that enslaved African men, women, and children wore at one time. You have pieces of slave ships in that space. So everything that anyone owned, anyone touched, anyone used, has their spirit in it. So you have thousands of objects inside of this shrine house. And all that is required of those who come inside of this museum is to come in with the right consciousness. Come in with the right consciousness. Know that you're in a shrine house. Know that you're in the presence of ancestors. And then open your arms and have them come down and hold you, possess you, use you, so that when you leave that space, you can leave with your mind transformed and clarity about how you should be spending the rest of your life. That's the process. That's why that building is there. So there are some devils, call them who they are, call them what they are, who want to take out, remove some of the artifacts in that shrine house. And if they had their way, they would tear it down. If they had their way. But whatever they do is too late. This thing has already been set in motion. These connections with ancestors have already been established. And nothing that they do can break these connections. So it's important that we understand what time it is. It's important that we understand who we are. It's important that we minimize, that we reject fear. Because these are times of fearlessness, right? These are times when we should stand in the full glory and power of who we are. And the ancestors should not be resting. They should be working through us. And we should be calling them 24/7. They should be openly employed. That's why they exist. So the beauty of ADACI, the beauty of telling our story, the beauty of documenting our journey, The beauty of understanding and cherishing ancestral memories and knowing that remembering is a healing process is essential for us to do the work that we are all supposed to be doing at this particular point in time in history. It's no accident, it's no coincidence that we are all here living at this particular point in time in history. What happens over the course of the next 4 or 5 years will determine the course of the next 400 or 500 years. It's not a time to go to sleep, not a time to be afraid. This is the time that we chose to be born in because we are a continuation of all of those ancestors whose names we evoke every time we do libation. We ain't just calling the names just to call the name. We're calling the names because we are making a commitment to them that we're ready for them to use us to transform the world. That's what that relationship is all about. So ADACI, for 33 years, have shown us who we are, has helped to make us proud of our connection to ancestors, so that we can grow out of the limitations that have been imposed upon us by those agents of those who enslaved us, miseducated us, and made us worship gods who are not our own. It's important to ground ourselves in our own realities. You got a car or something you need to move? Make an announcement. Make the announcement and then I'm almost done.
Okay, they're getting ready to tow a car. It's a Toyota 97786C from Maryland. You need to move the car urgently. Is it 2 of them? 2 of them? Okay, there's another one, GK4206DC Tesla. If you can move your car as soon as possible, right away, actually, they're getting ready to tow them. All right.
All right. Thank you. So, is our wrap up?
Take your time.
No, I want to be respectful of the time because you have a program and folk have other things to do. We want to use our time judiciously, right? So as I wrap up, I don't want you all to sleep on this moment. I don't want you to miss out on opportunities that are waiting for you, because there, as Dr. Wellsing often said, we're all born with a cosmic assignment. Before we came into this physical world from the spiritual world, we made a commitment to do something in this lifetime that would pave the way for us in future lifetimes. So what we're doing now, what we say now, what we think now, will pay dividends in the lifetimes to come. That's how this thing works. So we're here to do something special that will reap benefits for our children, for our grandchildren, for our great-great-grandchildren. And if we do our job right, then at some point in time, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, or 100,000 years from now, when our descendants gather, they will pour libation and they will call our names because we did the things that we were supposed to do in order to free the world again. That's how this process works. So, as Baba mentioned during his libation, everyone should have an altar in your home. ADACI has a wonderful book that talks about how to set up an altar. Every one of us should have a sacred space in our home where we commune with our ancestors on the regular. We ask them to protect our household, and we go there to seek guidance and information for the things that we must do on the daily. So there are things that we should be doing right now in order to prepare ourselves for what's coming. And the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. And actually, the future belongs to those who prepare for it yesterday, right? If you really understand the process. So ADACI has done its job. And now it's time for each and every one of us to do our job. To open our hearts, to open our minds, to invite the ancestors into our lives so that we can live the best lives possible and transform the world. So your participation in this activity today, your participation in the river walk in a few minutes from now, you're taking this experience home and sharing it with your family members, your friends, your co-workers, is how we can awaken the ancestral spirits, among others within our community, so that our armies, our armed forces are marshaled and ready for action. Because the devil is doing their thing right down the street on Constitution Avenue. Right? The devil is creating a world of destruction that is going to destroy them and everybody in close proximity to them. So we don't have to worry about them. All we need to do is focus our attention on is who we are and what it is we need to do in order to create a world that our children's children's children will inherit. So as St. Amos Wilson said, an act is not in at the end of its occurrence, but continues to move down through the ages, influencing generation by generation by generation by generation by generation. So right now, know this, sisters and brothers. Everything that you think from this moment on, everything that you say from this moment on, everything that you do from this moment on creates ripples of time and space, moves 150 years into the future, and has the capacity to influence the next 7 generations. That's power. Don't abuse that power. Use it well and help us transform the world and make it a safe haven for human beings once again. I say.